Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with a new video. This is it. This is my 2024 bullet journal setup video. Here we go. Links in the description to ways you can learn about what is going on with the Palestinian people and how Israel is basically trying to cleanse them out of Gaza and probably other areas. There are links to ways you can find out what has been going on for almost over 75 years and what's currently going on, and also follow Palestinians that are on the ground right now. There are also links to ways you can donate, Boycott, following the BDS movement suggestions, and ways you can send humanitarian aid when it is allowed in, ways you can contact your local senators or representatives if you are living in the United States. There are also links in the description for you to find out what is currently going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo. There are people basically enslaved in large amounts, most of them children, to dig through the mines to come up with the materials that are used to make our electronics. So, there are ways you can send humanitarian aid, ways you can find out what is going on, and ways you can support the local people. Linked in the description. Now for today, I'm setting up my bullet journal. I think this year is going to be an abstract year. Before I get into too much, I want to show you the back. So I did a pen test, a very basic one, and pretty much everything goes through. I think you can see, and lots of things bleed through, especially when you go over them multiple times. So this is the Tombow, which is the worst. I believe this is the Stabilo, which is horrible. And then we've got the cheap ballpoint that I have, which is crazy. Watercolor doesn't do too much, neither does the Sharpie pens, and the InkJoy is not too bad. So, the gel pens, right? But, so that's basically what I'm sticking with here. I want to have, I've shown this page already, a abstract design going on here. I'm going with browns and grays just to keep my life simple. I'm using watercolors that we purchased online. I had these sets made for the retreat that I hosted in October last year, and I have some left over. So I made these we made these paint tins so people can take them home. Not everybody did, and yeah. So a couple of leftover. I might throw in some muted blues and greens, like this one up here. You can see that. And yeah, maybe this dark green in the corner as well. But otherwise, this is the browns and grays. I'm not sure where this came from. This feels like a totally different color. And I'm going to keep the wash pretty light, because I don't want things to get too crazy here. So, let's go hyperlapse. So I did not know what shapes or what abstract shapes I was going to be using in advance. I kind of just free for all it here. The next page is going to be the first or the second index, I should say. And I decided ahead of time I wanted to use these stencils that I had with the Stabilos, which they look nice, but you'll see eventually there's some bleed through. And on that right hand side page there, I created a grid line page just to help me since I haven't used this notebook before. It can also double as a third index page as well if I'm need it. This next spread is one I've been doing for years, my annual strategy, and it's all four, the entire 12 months of the year on one page. I normally use this for business stuff, like when I should add new products to my shop and when important holidays are coming up to write blog posts about. And I'm just drawing in or painting in the little abstract shapes. And then I'll add in the same for my future log here. I'll come back to these pages. It's just with watercolor, you gotta wait for it to dry. So I'm putting paper towels down in between so the color doesn't pass over. And again, the future log takes up 2 spreads actually, so that is a little bit bigger. Coming back to my title page, the images have dried, so I'm making it 4 quarters with these gray lines or pencil marks, and I'm writing 2024 using the stencil. And that was my biggest stencil. I thought it was bigger, but so the cover page didn't come out the way I intended, but it looks nice. Now I'm back to the annual strategy. Using the stencils, I have annual on one page and strategy on another. And after this is where I start to realize that the stabilos are kind of bleeding through, but you'll see soon. For each box, there are 6 boxes on each page of this spread, 12 months. So going across the top, January through April, and so on and so forth. I'm just writing the first 3 letters of each month here. And that's it. I fill it in later as I figure out what my business strategy is going to be. Now, I messed up with putting October where September was supposed to be, so I cut out a piece of paper and pasted it over and then re-stenciled September in the right place there. So mistakes happen. If you couldn't tell, I used a glue stick because I didn't have any glue tape for some reason. I'm also going in with a light gray marker to make the boxes. And I'm going to do similarly here for the first spread of my future log, except each page is only broken up into 3 rectangular boxes. And yeah, so this is where I realized that stabilos are bleeding through the paper when I use the stencil. So I'm now using the method of cutting out a piece of paper and pasting it in and using the stencil over that. I also remembered I still had stickers with the month's names on them from my official bullet journal that I used as last year. So I'm just sticking those on, simplifying my life, and moving on to the next spread of the future log, part 2. So in this, I didn't stick down paper, I just wrote on it, And I decided to also stencil in 2024, and then I just wrote part 1 and part 2 quickly. Nothing special there. I don't even think I needed that, but for some reason I felt I did. And I'm putting the next 6 months down. Okay, these next 2 spreads are ones I've used before, as you can see. My moon phases page and my word of the year page. And I'm stenciling on a separate sheet of paper and pasting those in, the titles. The moon phases is something I use every month. And last year I did a flip out page, and I'll probably do that again. You won't see it here in this setup, but maybe my January one. So not much is happening on that page here. But the word of the year, I am doing something slightly different. I used this Oracle deck to pick my word, and the card I got was depth. So that's my word of the year. This is my depth year. And instead of having like a mind map that I don't fill in like I did last year, I'm writing in what the guidebook from this Oracle deck, the Cecil's Journey deck, what it says. There's a reflections, blessings, and a mantra. And I'm copying that here into my journal right now. So I don't have to remember to come back and do it later. I'll also go ahead and look up the Google definition of the word depth and write that in as well. These are just a written reminder of what my word of the year is and some ways I can look for inspiration when I turn to this page to incorporate it into my life. The next page is my annual objectives, which I've shown in my pre-planning video. It was a simple setup with tombos and a bit of washi tape, so nothing much to say about that. The page on the right that I'm doing, I'm just now adding the paint symbols to. These next several pages are actually related. They're all to do with my Etsy shop product lines, and again, these are spreads that I put into my bullet journal every year to help me out. It's about remembering what products I have, and by season, each season has its own page, and I write down all the products that have to do with that season. The next pages that I've done were my YouTube workflow and my shopping list. Not much happened there. I just actually used my water brush with the paint and wrote in the titles for that while the other pages were drying. And these are my morning and evening routine pages, and I've stenciled in the titles for those. With all 4 pages, I've continued adding these abstract shapes with the watercolor brush. From here, I was kind of figuring out what should I put in next, and I was inspired by Joshi Corin Jess. The 24/24s in 2024 is the spreads I'm creating now. So this is brand new to me, and the idea is 24 things I want to do 24 times in the year 2024. Say that 3 times fast. I decided at first I was going to set it up the way Jess has it, with a habit tracker on the first page and then all the other spreads with spaces, boxes to list out what I did each time. But I don't have that many pages before my December setup. So I want going back and erasing what I had penciled in for the tracker. And I'll just have the 24 boxes over however many pages it is. Six pages. Yeah, so each box I'll be able to fit 24 instances of whatever I decide. At the time of filming this, I hadn't figured out all 24 activities I want to do 24 times. I penciled in some of them though, and I will go back with a pen at some point when I finalize those. I hope to show you in my January setup video. But to give you some examples, I have parks visited, visiting friends, nonfiction books, and face masks, new to me artists, the 22 weeks, cleaned my desk. But yeah, those are some examples. What I'm doing here is also something I'm inspired by. Jess is going in and putting a light wash of color through every other row, so it's easier to discern between them. She uses Tombows, but for my pen test, those won't do too well in this notebook, supposedly, so I'm using a light wash of watercolor that matches the theme color scheme I had going. The next spread I'm doing is the last one, really. Oh no, there's one more after this. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do here, actually. Hence the me picking my nails. I just put in the abstract shapes there, and I flipped forward to after my December pages for the quarterly section, and I just put quarterly there with a paintbrush and watercolor. I want to follow Jess's new system that she's trying out, where instead of yearly, we plan quarterly, and then instead of monthly, it's every 4 weeks, and instead of weekly, it's bi-weekly planning. So not 100% sure how that's going to work out here, and I wound up putting goals there, but then after some hemming and hawing, I just wrote brainstorming over it, because I'm not sure exactly what's going to go in this spread. But when thinking about this idea of changing how I'm planning, I came across this kind of halfway through, and if I want to only plan quarterly, I also want to put all of my events in my Google Calendar, which means that having the annual strategy and the annual log becomes redundant. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these pages, particularly the annual strategy. But for now, I'm going in with the annual log, because I'll still use that in some way. It's kind of a year ahead spread as well. So I'm just putting in the little months, writing in all of those dates by hand. And next to them, since the weeks are going to be important, I'm writing in the gray what week number. And I'm doing this for both spreads. The top, I'm writing in pencil first just to get my spacing properly, and then going over it with pen, and I do it directly with pen in the later months. So I'm gonna keep the annual log because it's kind of set up quarterly already, right? 3 months per page, and I can fill those in every 3 months. I kind of sort of wound up doing that last year, but it's just that I do agree with Jess. My brain fits the whole quarterly, bi-weekly style, or what she calls fortnightly style, better. You'll see shortly. Also, I do make a mistake. I think that's October. I put the weeks on the right side and I didn't like how close it was to the sticker, so I went over it with a white gel pen and put them on the left side. When I wrote November and December, I had automatically just moved them to the left. I've gone back to the product line pages now that those have all dried, and I'm filling them in. So this first page is the year-long product stuff that I leave up all year. And under that, I put my restocking steps, which I never actually wrote in my previous bullet journal. And looking at this, I did sort of have a check-off system. These are kind of like trackers, and these lists I can use to, at minimum, check off each product as I've relisted it when I need to. So the year-long ones stay there, but the other ones, spring, summer, winter, and fall, they come out for only those seasons. Now, last year I realized I could use this not only just to make sure I've relisted things, but if I need to update them on my spreadsheet, update the pricing, shipping, get new labels, etc. So what you'll see here in the bottom, slightly off screen, apologies for that, is me writing out the key to the symbols I'm going to be using, the shorthand checklist that I'm going to be creating for each season. And because I have a lot of products, I'm just copying the list from my previous bullet journal. And I have 8 shorthands that I've used. Like I said, spreadsheet, pricing, shipping, price is what I mean there. If I need to take new photos, if I need to update the listing, which is the main thing, make new labels, or start the dry mix for them, or buy new ingredients because I'm low. The restock steps, I just have 4 sections: spring, summer, fall, winter. It's kind of redundant, but I don't mind the redundancy. What I'm also going to do here shortly is something I got from Jess. Again, I've been watching a lot of Jossie Corn videos while doing this setup. But again, every other line I will put the gray Tombow, and I use that because I thought it would look better with the various colors that I'm using than the kind of light brown watercolor. But again, this is so I can check them off. At first, for like the year-long product line and the restock steps, I had just used a pencil to draw a line down for each column. But I went back, like I said, with the gray Tombow to do that. And there was no bleed through and no ghosting that I noticed. So, I don't know. I guess it's just all in how you use it, I suppose. Okay, for my shopping list, I just quickly migrated some stuff over. I have it in basically 3 categories: my 2 businesses, Excelsior Events, Scarlet Moon Creations, and then personal. And moving on to the end of this setup, I'm adding all of these pages into my index, which I admit I usually forget to do, even though my index is very important to me. But yeah. And that is it. This is my setup. It's not perfect, but it is done. This annual strategy might disappear not gonna lie. But in general, I'm happy with the way it turned out. I want to find a type of cardstock that matches this brown and gray wintry look to be the backing for my moon phases, which I said will be a flip out. But yeah, this is everything. Some of these will be filled in as I go throughout the year. Some I need to make some final decisions on. And that's all of my annual pages, except for this quarterly page, which I just did the title of. Like I said, I hope to show you more of this in my January setup video. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought. Have you set up your planner or bullet journal for 2024? What theme have you done? If you do a theme, like, how does it look? If I decide to use this page that I have the grid spacing on as an index, I didn't want to ink in the title. But leave me a little planner emoji or notebook emoji down below if you've made it this far and you want to support but don't know what to say. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you are new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. I will be going live tomorrow for my January setup. That wasn't the original plan, but here we are. And links in the description to everything I've mentioned here, all of my supplies as usual, as well as ways you can support the Palestinians and the Congolese, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. There's also links to my Instagram and Twitter if you would like to follow me anywhere else. And a link to my Etsy shop, which is currently closed but will be back mid-January, so look out for that. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming along with all of these videos in December. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.